And here are the final standings in Norway Chess 2015. Vesel and Topalov. It's good to be good and it's good to be lucky. It's even better to be both. 6.5 out of 9, 13 Grand Chess Tour points, $75,000 in prize money. I believe the tiebreak, Anand gets second place. The way it works is the Grand Chess Tour points aren't split up, but the money is. So technically in second place, Vishy Anand, former world champion, he played a great tournament. $45,000. Third place, my buddy from the U.S. who played great chess as well. In fact, one of those two guys should have won this tournament. Topalov is just having an amazing tournament. With 6 out of 9, with $45,000, not bad for a week and a half's work. Anish Giri in fourth, 5.5 points, 7 points towards the chess Grand Prix. I should say Grand Prix, but Grandmaster chess total. Fabiano Caruana and Maxime Vachier-Lagrave tied at 5th and 6th, 22,500. Magnus Carlsen could be the worst tournament he's ever had, ever. He even lost to his compatriot from Norway, Jan Ludwig Hammer, in the last round, 3.5. He gets 15,000. And tied as well is Alexander Grishuk at 3.5 with 15,000. And the bottom, number 9. Who would have thought this? Levin Aronian, 3 out of 9, $15,000. And Jan Ludwig Hammer, I'll tell you the truth, he only got 3 points, but I thought he played his heart out. There was a couple of games I think he could have drawn. He could have had 4 points. He would 15,000. And there are the final standings and the money prizes in a Norway Chess 2015. Go figure. Anything can happen. I can't wait for the Singfield Cup. That'll be crazy too. Hi, John Cordisco back again. Well, here it is, the last round of Norway Chess 2015. First leg in the 3-leg Grand Chess Tour. It's a hell of a concept, and I'll tell you, they're giving away a ton of prize money. You saw at the beginning of the video who got what prize money. I gotta say, Magnus Carlsen lost again. This could be his worst tournament ever. It certainly is for the last 10 years, and he's only 24, 25. And it's against his compatriot from Norway, Jan Ludwig Hammer from Norway, is playing white. And Magnus Carlsen, current world champion from Norway, is black. Let's get to it. I'll tell you, I think he's playing well, but I'm just an amateur player. The experts are saying they've never seen Magnus play this poorly. It's going to be a Queen's Gambit declined. Carlsen is black. Hammer is white. You got to love it for a name of chess player. Hammer. You got to love it. F6. Bishop comes back. We're just going to go through a little bit here. It's typical opening stuff. Bishop takes. Get your pawn back. Pawn, knight, and they both castle. Black's a little cramped, but that's typical in these kind of openings. He decided not to go into a Slav system, Magnus. Now, he knows Jan Ludwig very well because Jan Ludwig works for Carlsen, works for Magnus. He's his second in a lot of things. They train a lot together. I believe they're close personal friends. But these guys are very competitive, so they're both out to win. And Magnus, if he wins this game, he is at 0. He's at 500. Same wins, same losses. And Jan Ludwig is really pushing, 1, to beat the world champion. He only is his friend. But 2 is, he's had some tough breaks. He's had a couple of games where he drew, he should have won. And one game he lost, he should have drew. So he's trying to recoup as well. Queen to B3 for Hammer. Magnus goes king over. Gives up the pawn. And as you can see, Bishop takes. King takes. Queen checks. That's how he gets the piece back. King. Bishop takes. Pawn. So that was a weird kind of exchange. Bishop goes back. And that's a good move because now what happens is he can't take. Bishop's on the queen. But that's still, I still like white's position. The computer bears that out off screen. It's an overpoint advantage for white. I think Jan Ludwig has done very well. We're on move 14, and he's got a lead in development. I should say his position is better. Now this is a move that the computer liked, and so did Hammer. I kind of like that myself. Give you an idea, if he had taken the pawn. Rook over, pawn takes, pawn, he's down a piece. And that's the deal on that. And the queen's still trapped. Queen a3, queen takes, knight e7. Another odd move. I think Magnus wants to get rid of that knight. Maybe to here. Knight, pawn takes. Gets an open file anyway. Bishop goes over, pinning the knight. The rook has to move. He's hitting the c pawn. Now he's got some pressure. He's got some pressure on the c file. Rook comes over. He's tying up Magnus's pieces. When you get like that, when all your pieces are defending pawns or minor pieces, you're very cramped. Very cramped. The knight can't move, or you lose a pawn. The knight can't go here, because pawn will take. If he goes here, knight takes, pawn takes, knight takes, and he's still putting pressure on this pawn. f5. He just goes f3. I think Hammer's doing well. Pawn takes, knight g6. Okay. He freed up that knight finally. He's on an okay square. I think what he's going to try to do is get him here. Now would be a really good spot for that knight, because there isn't a pawn on either side. Well, take that back. Not that arrow. But this pawn is already passed, so he can't harass the knight. Knight to f5. Gives up the pawn. Bishop c3. Technically, he's threatening mate. Bishop takes. Leaving an escape square. Pawn takes. King has to go to g8. Moving the bishop. Got an escape. But I'll tell you the truth. The computer only shows a half pawn advantage for white, but I think he's doing very well. I'll tell you the truth. I think Carlsen as black's got some problems here. I'm not saying he's losing by any means, but I think it's way easier to play white. Bishop d4. Get that bishop nice and centralized. Rook takes. He's got to give it up. And that's also the computer suggestion. I mean, bishop's going to take the knight. He doesn't have a choice. But where's the knight going to go? I mean, it's just terrible. So he's got to take it. That computer also agrees. Knight takes. Bishop takes the pawn. All right, he's got a bishop and two pawns for a rook. Okay, material-wise, you're technically even. See, what I think what he's trying to do is now, Magnus is always trying to win, but in the back of his mind, he sees that Hammer only has two pawns. And he's trying to get white's pawns to disappear. His chances of drawing, if he gets to that point, dramatically increase without any white pawns. b3 decides to block in the bishop. And this is where I think the computer has a question mark for this move. It's quite a bit down the list. Of the three moves for black on the computer is c5 and b6. Magnus goes rook to d8. And not good at all. Now, I would normally give a player a pass on a move like that because it looks natural. But this is Magnus Carlsen. You got to hold him to a much higher standard. c5 is what the computer liked. Maybe Magnus didn't like this line, but after knight to e6, bishop takes, knight takes, bishop d5, I think Magnus can hold on. I really think he can. It's one pawn left. He's got two passers on the queen side. Granted, it's a rook against bishop, but I think he can hold on. He could hold this easily. But after rook to d8, knight to e6, he makes another very questionable move. Rook to d6 is what the computer likes, and that makes perfect sense. perfect sense. He goes rook to d2, and the computer jumps now. An over 2-point advantage now for Hammer is white. If you go rook to d6, knight to c5 is a computer suggestion. And after rook, knight takes, bishop takes. Yeah, it still sucks for black, to be sure, and that's probably the line he didn't like. But I'll tell you, it's a hell of a lot better than what happened. After rook to d2, rook to c3, keeping the bishop at bay. Rook to e2, hitting the knight, and now it's creeping up. It's almost a 3-point advantage now for white. Carlsen is doomed. Knight to f4. And rook d7, just bring the rook back. Just get in the mindset now you're going to draw, but he decides not to do that. He went rook to b2. And here we go. Knight takes, pawn takes, rook takes c7. And now he just makes a huge blunder. Huge blunder. And this is Magnus Carlsen. Knight to c6. Just to try to salvage what he can. He's going to end up winning the b3 pawn. He takes it with a rook. And believe it or not, it's almost a 10-point advantage for white. What he should have done was bishop takes, and after rook takes, knight b5. It still sucks, but you know Carlsen, he might be able to draw this. But after rook takes, and look at the move. Stop the video now and see if you can find the winning move for white, and there's nothing that black can do. Rook to d1, threatening mate. He's got a block with a knight. Rook goes to d7. Now he's threatening mate with the other rook. And there's nothing Carlsen can do. Yeah, I could go knight to e7, but you just take it off. It comes out the same. So that's the last game. There's one more game I might have coming up later, maybe tomorrow if I get some time. Is a really good game between Karl Nakamura and Levin Aronian. That's a good game. But that's the sad story on Magnus Carlsen. I've never said that before. So take a picture of this game because you're never going to see him play this badly again, at least not in our lifetimes. Anyway, folks, I want you all to remember, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.